Ladies and gentlemen, we want you to stand and we want you to make some noise.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's go racing here at Knoxville.
Only the best go 3 abreast.
It is show time at Williams Grove Speedway.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here at Eldora Speedway, it's showtime!
You got them for a rep. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the world of outlaws.
It's time to sit back, relax, and enjoy because, ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime!
Set to do battle for 30 laps. The green flag is waving.
Hello again, it is Wing Nation talking sprint cars, our favorite time of the week, and we are so glad that you have joined us. Okay, before we do anything, stop, subscribe, like, share. If you like what we're doing on Wing Nation, spread the gospel. We would appreciate it. We'd be grateful for it. We love what we do here, and I've been in Knoxville all weekend. A lot of people say they love what we do here, so spread it with all your sprint car friends, and we would be grateful for that. Steve Post sitting here in lovely Altoona, Iowa, joined from our MRN studios in Concord, North Carolina by Aaron Evernham. Hello, Aaron. How are you?
I'm good, but not doing as well as you are. You've got to enjoy some sprint car racing, so I'm a bit jealous.
I have, and we'll talk a little bit about that later on, but I'm going to be leaving town in the morning to go to that real job at Watkins Glen. The good news is that we are in good hands with Knoxville coverage because Todd Buffenberger, TJ Slideways, he's headed this way, and he's joining us on the phone here today. Hello, Todd. How are you?
Steve, it's great to be with you guys today. Aaron, weird to be with you here as well.
Yep. Great to catch up with you. What is your vibe? What is your feel? What is your sense on this Tuesday as you drive west to Knoxville, Iowa, getting ready for what is going to be a big week of sprint car racing?
You know, I get the same butterflies as probably the teams do coming into this week. I mean, it's the biggest week of the year. Everyone's eyeballs are on us this week. And even people that may not normally pay attention to sprint car racing are watching this. So, I mean, it's always a lot of pressure coming into this, a lot of excitement. And to me, it's our biggest stage. And, I don't know if I've had a smaller group of what I consider favorites to win coming into the event. It's kind of similar to what happened Kings Royal weekend, where there's a finite number of people. It's not like Steve's going to win that, back in the late 80s, early 90s, but it's a pretty small group.
Yeah, it sure is. TJ, I want to go back a little on your history. I know I met you years ago when I was running 360 sprint cars. How many Knoxville Nationals have you attended, and when did you start your website?
So this will be I think it's my 20th Nationals. I'd have to go back. I'd have to get the calculator.
Yeah, a rough estimate works.
But believe it or not, we started the website in July of 1996.
Oh, wow.
Which is a long time ago. And for some reason, we're still here. It's still crazy that we're doing this, but it's been a while. And, started really covering the Nationals heavily in like 97, 98, once we got going a little bit better. And it took about 10 years off in between there to do some announcing and do some other stuff in my actual day job. And then came back in 2013, and I haven't missed one since.
Boy, I'll tell you what, that's fascinating. You say 96, that was the year I started working in the NASCAR business. So I think that's it's an interesting dynamic and still going strong, still doing our thing, that's for sure. Todd, you did something this week, and in chatting with you prior to coming on the air, it's something you've been doing. You did something this week where you have rated the entire field. And folks, you can go to TJ Slideways and just follow his social media, follow his page all week long, because the best coverage of Knoxville, tjslideways.com. You rated every driver all the way down through from 1 to, 102. First off, just the premise of this, and how did you start doing that?
So what happened is when we were going into the Eldora Million a few years ago, it was an idea that I actually borrowed from one of my favorite college football writers, where they rank the entire college football Division I field every week. I'm like, it'd be fun to do this for an event. I can't do it every week, but it'd be kind of fun. So we did it for that event, and some people that I feel are pretty a good gauge of what's entertaining enjoyed it. So we started doing it for the Knoxville Nationals after that. We do it every year since. And I usually start right after the King's Royal. I'll grab whatever entries are there, and I'll start kind of laying out, at least dividing them into, groups of like, okay, I think this is the top tier, this is the bottom tier, and start going through those as the entry list grows. And then about a week ago, I actually start putting numbers to that and start adjusting it. And it's quite a process. And we've done it long enough now that I have the past years to kind of go off of too, of like, see where I may have made a mistake. And you have to have a good sense of humor doing it, because you're going to be wrong. There's, the Nationals format's so crazy. Someone in the top is going to stumble. The format's going to get somebody. Something's going to happen mechanically to somebody. So you have to have some humility and do it with some fun, because you are going to be wrong doing this.
Todd, when you're doing this, I visualize like a whiteboard. Is this all on Excel? And do you get some feedback from maybe some coworkers or people that in the sprint car world? Because your description too was so detailed, but I picture this process being kind of challenging.
It is. It's a fun challenge, and I think it's actually improved my homework going into the Nationals a little bit, because you're looking at maybe not just the top few people or maybe a couple of interesting stories. You're looking at the whole field top to bottom. And it's a little bit of both. There's some spreadsheets, there is a whiteboard involved. And there's a tight group of about 4 or 5 people that I will send this to, just to make sure that I'm not completely out of line. Like if I'm not missing something. And there's like 2 or 3 people that I trust that I'll send this to, and a couple others, and then we usually publish it, usually on Monday or Tuesday before the Nationals. I did it before the Front Row Challenge. Just logistically, I had to do it that early this year, and it's quite a process though. It's every evening and lunch hours and stuff, going over some numbers and looking at it.
Well, let's tie the Front Row Challenge into this, okay? Because and folks, go to TJ Slideways and you can see the whole list. We're going to talk about a couple of them. We're certainly not going to reveal all 102 of them. But Kyle Larson, Corey Day were the top 2 that were there. You have them 1 and 4. So I don't think the Oskaloosa Challenge last night, or the Oski Challenge, is probably made you rethink anything at all.
No, and that's always my fear of publishing before the Front Row Challenge, because let's say someone crashes or wrecks a car or something, you're like, oh man, this could dramatically alter this. But I took a flyer on it this year. The past 2 years I put gravel as the top seed going in, and after last year, and really after the spring race where Kyle made his charge up the second in the Outlaw Show there at Knoxville, I had pretty much decided that he's the 1 seed unless I see something dramatic that would alter that decision. So that's how he ended up there, really. And even as strong as Rico Abreu, who he put at 2, was, and how strong they've been, I just couldn't take Kyle off the top.
Yeah. Honestly, when I look at your top 10, there's nothing that right now at this moment I would disagree with. Todd, what were some of your biggest movers at the last minute? I'm going to take a guess. I know you said Brad Sweet kind of got bumped because of all the changes that happened, obviously his injury. And James McFadden, he's one that's really surprised me this week. We all know J-Mac has a ton of speed, but man, he looked really strong at the Cappy Classic.
Well, you hit 2 of them right on the nail, right on the head, because I'm not a fan of big changes right before the Nationals. So,
yeah,
I had Sweet probably around like 6, 7, 8, right around there. And when that happened, I know there's familiarity there, but I still don't like that trajectory. So I did move him down. And talking to McFadden at Eldora the day they had put the Toyota engine in, I was talking to him about his shorter stint here in the United States. He had mentioned a little bit of concern about getting used to the different wings, the different tires, some of the rule differences that can change the feel of the race car. They've obviously figured that out. He looked very strong. He might be a little low at 10. I had him around because he talked me into like 14, 15. And I bumped him up after Sunday to about 10. And honestly, I could see where he should be a couple spots higher, honestly, but I just thought that was a safe spot to slot him in, because there's so many people have been fast at Knoxville this year. It was just, I wasn't quite comfortable going higher than that.
That's the beauty of this, and that's the beauty of sports talk radio and polls and everything, because this is all debate and all discussion. And just for reference there, James McFadden is 10, Brad Sweet is number 11, and TJ Todd just kind of described how we got there. I think another interesting one up there in the top 10 is you have Anthony Macri in the 8th spot. How important is that Kings Royal win, and how did that impact where you ended up with Macri?
Actually, I think Macker's performance last year at the Nationals had more to do with that than his Kings Royal win, in my opinion. He was very good out here last year. And the Kings Royal win probably did impact a bit. But honestly, he ran so well here last year, I was pretty tempted to put him in the top 10 regardless of what happened at Eldora.
Yeah. One that hurts my heart a little bit is to see Donny Schatz 20th. I mean, 5-10 years ago, you would never have put him anywhere outside of the top 2. What are your thoughts on Donny's performance? It seems like, that they switched the engine back. I've seen some good runs. He had a good run the other night. What are your thoughts on Donny?
That was a tough one. I always say this list gets harder the further you go down, actually.
Yeah.
It's easy to, the top's easy to do relatively, with a few movers. Donnie was tricky. I still think he puts it in the show this year. I really do. I don't think I've remarked that I think the age tipping point for drivers has moved younger because we're starting them so younger now. I mean, by the time they're walking, they're in junior sprints and quarter midgets now. So I think the age, I used to say the age was around like mid 40s, late 40s. I think it's like early 40s, late 30s now, to be honest, depending on the driver. And it's just because, the equipment, the kids are starting so much younger, the aggressiveness of the racing we see on track, just a multitude of factors, right? But I don't think Donnie's still at that point where we have to put him out the pasture. He's really good at Knoxville. I think he's going to put it in the show. I just don't see him contending to win this week. I don't think they're that good yet, but they are better than they started the year out for sure.
Yeah. I'm with you on that one. The problem is I'm like, how in the world is Donnie 20th? And then I'm like, how performance-wise, you got to be true to what we see on the racetrack as well. And you said this right, Todd. You're going to be wrong on a few, and there's going to be someone mid-pack that's going to jump up and do this. I always look at that key number 24 spot. Okay, you have Garrett Williamson in and Cole Macedo out in the 25th spot. Does that come into play? Do you think about that as far as the cutoff point, the cut line?
Yeah, I do. And actually, I think the 25 through 48, like that was the hardest group to do, to be honest. Everyone in that group is pretty stout. And I think it just came down to I preferred Williamson's past performance at Knoxville, where, Cole has run well here as well. I mean, I had Cole has gone through this process of being anywhere from 21 to probably, I'd say 28. At any point, there's a lot of movement there, and I have leading into the Nationals. I think it's right on the border where I thought 25 was the right spot, because it wouldn't surprise me if he got it in, but if he's close to missing it wouldn't surprise me either. So it was, but that 25 through about 35 was brutal. I was losing some sleep over it.
I can imagine, because that whole group, like you said, they can have a random great performance, and with a little luck they could have also a great performance. So I could see where that would be tricky. TJ, in past years, have you gone back and then compared their finishes to what you had predicted?
So here's what I do. I actually do that every year after the Nationals, Monday or Tuesday after. I actually put how they did and versus how I did it.
You grade yourself?
I keep myself accountable, right? So if you're going to put someone 102nd, you better write about where they are, right? Because you're picking them last at the biggest sprint car race in the world. So I felt there needed to be some accountability to it. I didn't want it to go away of like sweeping it on the rug. We don't remember what he did. So Monday or Tuesday, I'll go back through it and we'll write that one up as well.
Do you get feedback? Do any moms call you, or any grandmas, or any crew chiefs call you? Do you get any feedback on this?
The funniest one last year was Brandon Whmer called me out because I had trepidation about his car owner Dennis Gainey fielding so many cars, so I put him around 70, and he's like, "I'm going to outperform that." But called me out publicly to it. I'm like, "I hope you do. I want to be wrong here." And of course, he improved his position by about 35. So I actually remember that this year going back of like, okay, they can handle the multiple entries. And I told him this year, I told Whmer, I said, hey, if you improve by 35 spots this year, you'll be in the A main, so you'll be good. But yeah, I do get notes privately of like, why was I so low, or why, a lot of industry people will be like, you overrated this person, or you underrated this person. It tends to be a lot of fun. As I joke, I turn my mentions off for a couple of days usually after I publish it.
Oh, that's awesome. So last year you had gravel as number one. So we know that wasn't totally accurate. How far off were you when you went back and compared?
The top, not terribly. I mean, I will say if I'm within 5-6 positions of like where they're at, to be honest, and not terribly. The bigness has come from like in the middle of the pack of people that benefit from maybe the misfortunes of others and stuff. Mm-hmm. That's where it really gets skewed. And I like I have a pretty good self-deprecating sense of humor. So it's a lot of fun to write it at the end, because I'll write about how someone might jump up 40 spots and how wrong I was about that and say something humorous about it. But, I don't get too wrapped up in it though. It's fun. And I like I said in the beginning, I know going into it, there's going to be big discrepancies in places just because of the format.
Todd, you talked about it before we even got into the poll. It's an interesting season in sprint car racing. So much going on, so many conversations. I mean, we had major changes in the middle of the Kings Royal and major changes in the middle of the Knoxville Nationals. What's your take on what is going on in the sport? Because it just seems like everything is on edge right now.
I think a lot of it is just the higher stakes, the higher expectations for people. I mean, typically we've seen people, make decisions maybe at the end of the year. We might see someone that might be a lame duck in a car. We know it's going to happen, but it didn't happen at the end of the year. It doesn't seem like car owners in certain positions are waiting at this point. There's certain things I've seen happen that I felt may have been decisions that were made before they happened. And then they actually occurred. And I don't know if it's just a mix of, people with the amount of money they're spending and effort they're putting into this, that they just don't want to deal with it anymore. If they just want to get a jump on next year, I suspect some of it is all of the above. But I do think the increased pressure and some of the money and some of the other things are contributing to that.
Todd, when you talk about the higher stakes and the extra money, the extra pressure, do you think that also plays into the fact that we're seeing so many injuries and so many really awful wrecks those last few weeks?
Part of it, but I think honestly, part of it's that. Part of it's the way people race now. Mm-hmm. I mean, and part of it is some of the way people feel like they have to race because of the way the cars behave on track. I don't think there's a silver bullet to that.
Yeah.
A lot of people feel like to blame it on one thing. I don't think there's a single thing causing it. I think it's a combination of 2 or 3 different things. And I mean, you have people in containment seats now and stuff. And these guys already think, a lot of them think they're invincible to begin with. I think there's maybe a little more sense of that. I mean, I'm old. This is where my gray hair is showing is, because of some of the safety advancements, I think people are willing to take a few more chances. And the way the cars race and the way the cars are so close now, they're having to take more chances. The back of the field's way faster than it used to be. Mm-hmm. And that's the part that, you look at the front half of the field, we're not really going that much faster, but you look at the middle and the back half of the field, especially in the features and stuff, it amazes me how fast those cars are from mid-back pack now, even at the local level.
Yeah, you're right. It really is. It's fascinating. It really, truly is. It's a fascinating time in our sport. Todd, before we cut you loose and get you back on the highway, you say the local level. What's going on up in Michigan? I actually hit a Saturday night show at Butler a few weeks back when we were up there for the NASCAR stuff. What's the state of the sport up in your area?
Things are going really well. The Great Lakes Super Sprint seem to have the car counts are maybe down just a tick, but the car quality you see at those shows are really good. The Whmer family's doing a great job over at Butler. They're continuing to move that place forward. I can't talk enough about how Steve, you and I have talked about off air about where it was and where it's going, and this year they've really stepped up. I mean, they have IRA there, had them there a few weeks ago. They have a United States Auto Club Sprint Car Show the week after the Four Crown there. Obviously, their high limit show went off the charts again this year. It was just absolutely packed. It's awesome to take photos at that race and take photos of sprint cars in front of just packed grandstands. When you take pictures of the front stretch, it's just, you can't see any gaps. And it's just awesome. We're actually doing really well up here. I'm really happy with the way things are going. Quality wise, the group of promoters we have, it's probably the best outlook I've had locally in a considerable amount of time. You'd have to probably go back to when Aaron was racing 360 as to when I felt this positive about the local racing scene.
I think that's fascinating. I'll echo what you said about the Whmer family. And to me, every area needs an anchor. Every area needs a place. And Butler has become, and when I say anchor, I don't mean drag you to the bottom of the lake. I mean a solid rock foundation piece. And that's what I've seen over the last 5 or 6 years. Butler all of a sudden is one of those foundation pieces, and Great Lakes is doing this. And with all the tours coming through there, you're seeing drivers that said, well, maybe I'll go all-star racing. No, maybe I'll stay put and just race here at Butler. And I think that's really been good. So Todd, I appreciate your insight. Always enjoy catching up with you. Sorry, we won't catch you in person here, but we'll be following along, and great job on that list as well. We appreciate the time here today.
I appreciate joining you guys, and have safe travels. Appreciate being on.
You have safe travels. Again, tjslideways.com and all of Todd's social media. That's where you need to be for the coverage of sprint cars this week at Knoxville. Stay with us. More Wing Nation in just a moment.
3, 2, 1. Start your engine.
The NASCAR Channel is streaming now, exclusively on Tubi. Go deeper into NASCAR with 24/7 news, documentaries, and explore the vault of timeless NASCAR stories and unforgettable races. From crushing defeats to the thrill of victory. The NASCAR Channel. Always on, always free. Only on Tubi.
Welcome back. It is Wing Nation here on the Motor Racing Network. Aaron, Todd has just... I can't believe 1996. He is just, and folks, here's the thing with Todd, it is a passion play. And man, when he said, I don't know how we're still doing this. I know how he's still doing it. It's Todd's passion for it is how they're still doing it. And his coverage at Knoxville will be awesome this week. He's just a good human. He really is.
He really is. And like I said, when we were chatting with him, I've known him since 2002, almost 25 years. And he was covering the sport with passion then. But I love his rankings. I think that's a really neat thing. I love his approach where he's kind of humorous and understands that some people might be disappointed. Some people, I love that it is what it is. And in this day and age where people can be so critical on social media, he's like, I don't care. Here are my ratings. I like it.
Turns his DMs off, though. And that's my man right there.
Yeah,
I really do. So, again, TJ Slideways, you can follow along with him. While we're talking about some of our reporter friends, I spent a little time last night at Oskaloosa with Jeremy Elliott. Jeremy's coverage, man, he broke the whole Brad Sweet change thing and like that. Yeah. I am telling you, I saw somebody, Jeremy Elliott really crushes it as well. So, folks, and I know I'm leaving here. I'm in Altoona. I did the 360 Nationals. Of course, we were here for Iowa, the NASCAR stuff. What a fun weekend that was. And then I did the Front Row Challenge last night. I'm doing English Creek tonight with my kids from Millbridge. And then I'm out of here. And I literally am going to have TJ and Jeremy Elliott on speed tweet following along, because between the two of those, the coverage we have of sprint car racing is so good from those guys. And they just both do a good job. So I want to, I always love giving those guys props, that's for sure. So, Aaron, Knoxville's been fun. Oskaloosa was fun. Been really fun for Rico Abreu. That 360. Did you watch any of that 360 Nationals?
I watched the whole thing. I've been really dialed into my dirt vision, my flow. I thought that race was awesome, and Rico is on fire. We know that, but to see Kyle get by him and then Rico get by him on the restart, that showed to me some speed and some power we haven't always seen from Rico. That was impressive.
I talked to Kyle on the grid at Iowa Speedway, and he said Rico's car on restarts just goes.
That car just goes, period.
Right. Well, the thing of it is what happens is he gets by you on the restart, and then it goes, period. You know,
exactly.
And he said he's got something figured out when the green light comes on. And then, yeah, it's good over the long run. There's a lot of good cars over the long run. The problem is you're behind Rico by the time you get to that longer run.
Yeah.
And that's where Rico got Kyle on that restart. And he said, and he said, oh my gosh, he said, it was just like, he said, his car goes so good on the start. It's just, and he's going to be a handful. He really is. Mack, James McFadden, we talked about him a little bit. Man, that 21 car, that Tarleton car is flying, Aaron. He's rolling everywhere.
It really is. Even last night at Oski, you know, I forget where he finished, but he was coming through the field. That car's impressive right now.
He finished third. I was thinking a caution with about 10 laps to go when he broke into third, because that car was going on the bottom of the racetrack too.
Yeah, the real bottom of the racetrack. He was like half in the grass. I was cracking up. He found a line that was working though.
Yep, absolutely. So the front row challenge, not to be forgotten. Kyle Larson, Aaron, the momentum Kyle carried into turn number 3 a couple of times was insane.
It's insane. He is so smooth in anything he drives. You hardly ever see that car upset, like turned any bit extra sideways. Like he's just literally a smooth operator. It's always fun to watch Kyle race.
Really, truly is. So we are set for a big Knoxville Nationals. A couple other winners from this past week. Carson Macedo and Buddy Kofoid picked up the wins at Peevely. Lou Blaney Memorial. How about this? Danny Dietrich went out there and picked up $13,000. Good for Danny. Good on Danny to go out and support Sharon on that show. I talked to Dale, who finished second. And Dale was at Iowa on Saturday. So here's the story on Dale, Aaron, and you'll respect this. You'll appreciate this, okay? He beat the only guy that beat him, has 60 starts this year as opposed to 6, which is a fair point. Fair point.
Very solid. It's a fact.
Fair point.
Yeah.
He says, the guy's also 28 or 30 years younger than me, which is also a fair point also. So, but Dale, but he said the family, the celebration, the tribute. Of course, this is the first one without his mom as well. And he said that was really, really weird. And I had someone else was telling me the same thing. I think Paul Arch was telling me the same thing as well. Really, really weird. But the Blaney family just continues, and I'll be anxious to see where this Lou Blaney Memorial goes. But Danny Dietrich rolled out there on his way to Knoxville and picked up the win. And this one here, Aaron, Ocean Speedway. How about Bud Kading picking up the win?
That was neat. You know, we're friends on Facebook, and I saw his post. You could tell it was pretty emotional to be back in victory lane. That was really neat to see him win.
First NARC, I cannot believe this.
Me
First
either.
NARC win since 2019. I talked to Tim last night.
My buddy TK.
TK. I talked to him last night. I said, "How's your brother Bud doing?" And he said, the last 2 years Bud has just been beating himself up. He's doing most of it all himself, and when you do it all yourself and you don't get the results you want, well, there's no one to blame. He said, Bud is doing good. Now, the Johnny Key Classic, I did a little history on this thing. This race has been going on since 1954. The Kadings have done really, really well. Bud won this race 29 years ago and on Saturday night, Aaron. That's pretty sporty. And it's like TK said, well, it's about damn time he did it again. Typical TK. Brent has 2 wins in this race. Howard has 4 wins in this race, and TK's won at one time. It's been a good thing for the Kading family.
It sure has. That's really neat to see the family history with the race.
It goes one step further. In 1986, HK, after he won the Johnny Key Classic, apparently jumped from the roof of his house into his swimming pool. Saturday night, Bud Kading, taken after HK, apparently jumped from the roof of his house into the swimming pool in celebration.
Yeah, that sounds like a Kading story for sure. It tracks.
Yep, and of course my source is TK, so it's 100% gospel. There's no embellishment.
Oh yeah, else, TK probably does that, on occasion just for the heck of it.
Yes, exactly. So fun stuff. A really good weekend of racing and, of course, racing beyond what we saw here in Knoxville. National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum. I spent a little time down there on Thursday. They have got a big week coming up. I talked to Bob Baker a little bit, Aaron, with all the forums and everything. Folks, if you're going to Knoxville this week, that is a must stop. And give yourself time to take some time and look around. Here's the other problem. And this is not a problem. This is one of those, this is a problem. No, it's not a problem. Give yourself time to bench race with fellow race fans, because you'll walk up alongside of a car and some old boy will be standing there and he'll tell you about watching that car race at San Jose with so-and-so driving it. That place is magical in itself with just the facility. And then the people there are magical. Just give yourself, make sure you go to the Sprint Car Hall of Fame all weekend long and hit the gift shop. Oh, they've got some good stuff.
I missed the gift shop.
Including this, I got this shirt there. I got my National Sprint Car Hall of Fame Museum shirt. Yeah, I love it. So if you're not going to Knoxville, sprintcarstuff.com or sprintcarhof.com. So, Aaron, pretty simple what we got going on this weekend.
Yeah, the biggest week of the year. The 64th annual NOS Energy Drink Knoxville Nationals presented by Casey's General Store. Wednesday night, Thursday night, prelim nights. To me, that's almost some of the best action. To watch those heat races. Those heat races determine a lot for your week.
No doubt. Friday night to come back with a Hard Knocks night, and then Saturday, all of the feature events as we get set to go. One other race I want to mention, okay? We all understand it's all going to be focused on Knoxville, but Clinton County has the Phil Walter Classic. $6,300 to win, more than $3,000 in contingency. Now, we love this race. We love this race for multiple reasons, okay? We love this race because we're going to unveil Bard beer. Garrett Bard was the winner last year. Remember, this is one Floating Feathers Brewing Company gets you your own beer. And this weekend, we unveil Bard beer, and we'll learn who gets the beer next year. So I love that. I think that's such a neat promo. Really, truly is.
Sure is.
Good stuff. All right. So our friend Justin Fiedler, he does the daily show, the Dirt Tracker Daily. I love Justin to death. I love his show. He does a great job with it. Okay. He had an advertiser, a restaurant called the P.O. Box in Oskaloosa, Iowa. Okay. I'm like, I'm going to spend the day in Oskaloosa on Monday. Maybe I'll go down there. Aaron, there is an appetizer called Postman cheese curds. The whole restaurant is it's an old 1903 post office is what the restaurant is.
Oh, that's neat. I saw some of your photos. Yeah.
Upstairs is called the American Table. Downstairs is the P.O. Box. Okay. And so it's a post, but I literally, like I was yesterday, I decided I was still here at the hotel. And I said, well, I'm going to look at the menu of this place. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Postman cheese curds. Aaron, these cheese curds were delicious. And they're lightly dusted with Parmesan cheese.
Yum. Look at that. You have your own appetizer.
I have my own appetizer, and it's really, really good. So if you're in Oskaloosa, the P.O. Box, that's right. And then I had the pork tenderloin. And see what I love about the pork tenderloin is it's one of those wow foods with the pictures. Okay. Anybody that's been to Iowa, I was like, yeah, that's a pork tenderloin.
Yeah.
Anybody that's not seen one of them are like, wait, that's the bun? It's just the reaction to people on social when I posted those pictures was awesome, because those who've never seen a pork tenderloin, they're like,
yeah,
that thing is that big. Yes, it was. And it was delicious. Really fun. It's been a fun weekend out here. With the Iowa race, it just worked out where I was able to do the 360 Nationals and the Cappy Classic and the and Oskaloosa, and really, really cool. Great stuff. I do want to also mention Richard and Jennifer Marshall, because of the Iowa traffic and race. I literally blew in Saturday and Sunday night during the running of the races, and the Marshalls had me hooked up with parking. And literally walked up into the suite and I missed a little bit of the D main and the D main of the 360 Nationals, half of the C, but it's just been fun. I love being at the racetrack, and it's just been a blast. Been really fun. That's for sure.
Well, thanks for rubbing it in, but I'm really glad you've had a great weekend, and I will continue to be streaming online.
There we go. It is going to be good. That's for sure. And Dirt Vision
Yeah.
has all the coverage all week long. And folks, if you're coming to Knoxville, take it all in, savor it all in, soak it in, just enjoy every little bit of it.
Go to Cattleman's, go to Dingus, do all the things.
Absolutely. Well, I might be, when I get done with the show, I may go do a little day drinking at Dingus myself, so, and I'll send you a picture. And if I decide to do
just rub it in a little bit more. So it's good.
Do that.
It's good.
I'll do that. So, but go if you're not find a sprint car race near you to go to this weekend. I'll tell you, we live in this world. I live in this world where I go and do my NASCAR thing, and it's like I go back to a sprint car race, and it's like, why don't I do this every time I get the opportunity? It is so cool to be at a racetrack. So we are grateful for Todd Buffenberger, TJ Slideways for joining us. More important, though, than all of that, thank you for joining us this time here on Wing Nation on the Motor Racing Network.